and welcome to the third and final video in our Small Business Awards video series. I'm Suzanne Tobias with the Wichita Eagle, and it has been an absolute joy being the moderator during this series. Whether you're tuning in for the first time today or you've watched since our first video, thank you for taking time to learn about and support small business. Both of the first two videos can be found on the Chamber's various communication channels, and I encourage you to check those out if you haven't yet. When discussing the adjustment of the Chamber's Small Business Awards program this year, one committee member shared a rather poignant thought. How the program is handled this year is an opportunity to keep grinding and moving forward and pivoting, which is similar to what small businesses do every day. The Chamber, the Small Business Awards Committee, and the sponsors hope that this series has been a positive light in what has been a challenging time. With that said, we'd be remiss to not thank the Small Business Awards Committee for their time, as well as the judges who selected this year's finalists. We again want to thank our sponsors for their continued support. Co-presenting sponsors, Affinity Automotive and McCurdy Auction, as well as gold sponsors, Cox Business, Ameritrust Credit Union, Occidental Management, and the Wichita Eagle Business Today. We also want to thank our signage sponsor, The Print Source, and motion graphics sponsor, Malibu Creative. So for today's video, we are joined by Nate Regier of Next Element Consulting, the Tier 1 finalist, John Roden of Roden Roofing, our Tier 2 finalist, and Bill Manis of Syndio, the Tier 3 finalist. Let's turn now to our last group of finalists for some insight into their businesses. So Nate, let's start with you. First, please tell us just briefly about Next Element Consulting.
Thank you, Suzanne, and thank you to the Wichita Chamber for this opportunity and to the Small Business Awards Committee. I so admire your resilience and your creativity to adapt this award and the whole process for this new reality. And I want to congratulate all the other finalists and also all the companies who submitted applications. I know firsthand that the process itself is really good for businesses to go through. I'm the CEO of Next Element. We're a global leadership training and consulting firm based in Newton and founded in 2008. Our mission is to bring compassion to every workplace in the world, and we do this through three strategic priorities. First, we develop and teach effective methods for compassionate leadership. Second, we certify and equip other people to be able to do the same on our behalf. And finally, we love to partner with other entities to amplify that message of compassion. Our clients include many large and small organizations in this region, and we support a global network of nearly 80 licensed trainers and coaches who are helping spread compassionate work in 11 countries around the world. We're proud to hail from Kansas and be part of the greater Wichita business community.
Thanks so much, Nate. So your first question, Next Element Consulting has reimagined itself and evolved as a business 3 times since starting in 2008. So how do you and the team balance getting the work done in front of you, including challenges with this pandemic, while also continuing to look ahead for opportunities for growth and change?
Well, I appreciate that question, Suzanne. We opened our doors in 2008, just when the Great Recession was beginning. So we're no stranger to difficult economic conditions. Before COVID, we delivered a lot of in-person training and coaching and consulting, and we prided ourselves on bringing tremendous results for our clients. What we were also doing, though, over the last year and a half is really clarifying our why, the purpose around our existence. You know, that thread that transcends the conditions at any one moment in time. And what we recognized is that thread is compassion. It's the thing that makes us human. It's what brings us together and gets us back on track when we lose our way. And then coronavirus hit, and our in-person business ended abruptly in a matter of days. And it hasn't come back yet. But like everyone else, we've worked hard to adapt to virtual technology. We've reached out to support our clients with free services, and we've leaned on our peers in the industry for support. That's consumed a huge amount of energy and time because the learning curves are so steep. For us, though, here's the real breaking news about COVID, is that compassion is trending now. Compassion between humans, compassion in leadership, compassion for self-care and resilience, and compassion as a critical life skill for the future. So it's never been more evident that we need compassion at work. I mean, it's tragic that it takes a crisis for people to recognize what matters and to make changes in their behavior. That's certainly true for us at Next Element. We've had our share of struggles and fears and anxieties, and we've had to change old habits. And this has only reinforced, though, that our mission is more relevant than ever. And so right now, for the fourth time in 12 years, we're reinventing how we deliver on our same mission. In the future, we're going to use every method and technology at our disposal to make accessible our tools for compassionate leadership in every workplace. It's going to look different, but our opportunity to make a difference in the world has been magnified considerably in the last 6 months. Yeah, our business has not rebounded, and it's going to be a long haul, but we're hopeful and we're curious and we're committed to a brighter future.
Thanks so much, Nate. It's always interesting to hear the ins and outs of how business adapts to stay relevant, even in these challenging times. So, John, let's hear from you now. Please, if you would, tell us a little bit about Roden Roofing.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks for hosting, Suzanne. Much like Nate, I get it. We started in 2008 as well, which was not the funnest year to start a business for sure. So we started in 2008 primarily as a residential roofing contractor, which is more like your steep slope, like your shingles. And then we kind of grew more into the commercial space with low slope roofing. And our main thing is we almost consider ourselves more in the customer service business than the roofing business. We're a customer service business that happens to do roofing. That's our trade, that's what we do, but our primary focus is our customer. And I think that has allowed for us to organically grow, get great referrals, and that's pretty much what we do here. It's not rocket science. We take care of our customers, and we do steep slope and low slope roofing.
That's great. And you have got quite a story. During summers home from college, you got your start in the roofing business. And then after college, you moved back to Wichita and worked for a large roofing company. But then you enrolled in medical school. And after your second year, you had a change of heart and took a big risk, leaving med school to start your roofing business in your parents' basement and your truck. So how has your work experience, education, and passion for entrepreneurship played a role in how you run your company?
Yeah, so that's true. I did have a background in roofing. I worked at distributors and for a local roofing company before I attended medical school up at Creighton. And it was in my second year, and I wasn't happy. I knew it wasn't going to be the path for me. And when I was working for another company in town, I just saw so much opportunity in this industry. Wichita has a ton of roofing contractors. It's a storm market. It can be very profitable. So obviously a lot of opportunity breeds a lot of competition. And it seemed to me like everybody was a commodity roofer. Everybody was saying, going to try to answer two questions. When can you start and how much? That's like 5 to 10% of what the process really is. So we try to come in and be a game changer, try to disrupt it and be like, we're going to focus on the process that we do, the roofs that we design, and look for customers that really care about having a long-term solution to their roofing contract, their roof, and build a relationship with them. And so that's what we've tried to create here, is just that wow experience. And that's kind of the opportunity I saw from before I went to medical school, and then kind of starting my business out of my parents' basement 12 years ago or so now.
Thanks for sharing that story and how all of those experiences have played such a significant role in where you are now. So let's go to Bill now. All right, let's learn about who Syndio Outsourcing is. Bill?
Well, thank you, Suzanne. It's an honor to be amongst these guys and all of the nominees, frankly. I started Syndio, like the other two gentlemen, in a down cycle. I began my company 9 months after 9/11. And it was one of those classic entrepreneurial stories. I got fired from my previous job and didn't know what else I was going to do. So I just started my own company. But I started it with the idea that Syndio was going to be a service engine type of company, where the services that we provide, which is human resource outsourcing, we do payroll, benefits management, workers' comp and risk management, and HR management. All of those are classic things that businesses have to do that have nothing to do with their business. that have to do with being an employer. And so we took on the task of working very hard to be our customer's HR department located off site. Our typical client has between 10 and 500 employees, but really what they're looking for are answers that allow them to continue to do what they're in business doing, which is roofing, consulting, whatever it may be, so that they can spend their precious time and energy on doing the things to take care of their customers rather than spending their time doing the cost side of the ledger of HR and business management compliance. So we started with the idea that we were going to work very hard to get a customer, and we were going to work even harder to keep a customer. And so over the years, we've enjoyed some growth, but it's really been one client at a time, all organic, not really looking through the acquisition model to get bigger. All of our clients, save for one, is based in Kansas. So we're really Kansas born, Kansas bred, and that's who our clients are. And so we work really hard to take care of them on a day-to-day basis, and make sure that their mission can be fulfilled doing what they do.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Now, Syndio has a really cool program called Get Stuff Done, where you recognize employees for going above and beyond to help clients and coworkers. And what's really cool about it is that they receive additional paid time off, and so does the employee who nominated them. So what kind of impact has that had on employees? And is there something someone did that really stands out to you, or maybe something recent, especially with the current situation we're in?
Well, it all got started from a conversation I had one day with one of my senior HR people. I walked in and said something to her, and she said, "Just getting stuff done." And I kind of laughed a little bit at it because she didn't say stuff. But at the end of the day, it really kind of set home with me that that's really what we do, is take care of that kind of stuff. But when I started thinking about how could we do rewards for our employees, what I really wanted to reward was behavior that was supportive of each other. Because at the end of the day, we've gone through an extensive analysis of what our why is, and we really truly believe that our inner circle is taking care of each other, which allows us then to take care of our clients, which ultimately allows us to take care of our families, which is why we go to work in the first place. And the GSD Award was kind of a thought that we wanted to reward the little things that we do every day that are over and above what is our job description, that demonstrate our service engine mentality, our corporate culture, so to speak. We've been very fond of saying customer service isn't a department in our company, it's a culture, it's who we are. And this really is just a way for us to reward those individuals that go above and beyond. And the only way we're going to know that is somebody else seeing that, because a lot of times clients don't tell us when somebody's gone above and beyond. Sometimes we get that feedback, but most of the time it's the person sitting next to them that sees it. And that's really what we wanted to reward, was everybody working together to do things that are above and beyond, and then to recognize it, and then to encourage all of the employees to recognize those that are doing it, so that we can have that constant cultural rewind of here's what we do and here's why it's special.
I love that, the GSD Award. I think I'm going to start using that myself. Yeah. That's great. Thank you for sharing about one of the ways you focus on building strong employee relations, and it's clear that it works. So if you've watched our other videos, you know we've got a lot more to learn, and we are going to do just that. So Nate, we're coming back to you. You have some very different personality structures among the owners of Next Element. From a personality assessment you share in your application, you are a rebel, another is a promoter, and one is a thinker. So without us knowing the full breakdown of those categories, we imagine they are likely very diverse thought processes. So how do you not just engage your differences, but also leverage them to be successful?
Well, yeah, those different personality types. Promoter is my strongest type. I don't mind being in front of people. I don't mind being in front of the camera. And the rebel type in our team is super creative, and we sure need that now. But aside from the details, we are a United States distributor for the process communication model. It's a behavioral communication model, or a framework that teaches people how to leverage personality diversity. So one of our core values at Next Element is to practice what we preach. I think I share that with the other people here today, is that culture really is about walking the talk. So we have a very diverse team on purpose, and we make a point of playing to each other's strengths. 6 months ago, we had a fairly good routine going. We had a rhythm where we leveraged our different strengths, we balanced each other out, and we got the work done. But through this pandemic, our commitment to diversity has really been tested by two big challenges: disruptive life conditions and physical isolation. And those two things have made it really difficult. There are 6 personality types, and all of us have all 6 in us to some degree or another. We all have signature strengths that come from our strongest types. And when we're in a good space, when we're flying high, we can be agile and flexible, and we can play to our strengths, but we can also tap into other parts of our personality that help us be flexible. But one thing we know about personality is that under stress, we tend to hunker down. We head to our most comfortable strengths, and it's easy to become a one-trick pony. And boy, that certainly does not help us right now. It doesn't make it easy to adapt to change. We need to be like 50 trick ponies right now. And everyone on our team that's diverse also copes with stress differently. And so it can be a really difficult challenge. So we've had to find new and creative ways to support each other, to fill our buckets and to regain our agility to be able to adapt. One example is that we've been having daily virtual huddles where we check in and with each other, and we provide emotional support as well as focusing on the tasks and the priorities, because we know we need that right now. And everybody needs different things. Adapting to change and disruption and creating the future for ourselves depends on being able to reach higher. We have to be more adaptable, and we have to energize parts of our personalities that we never had to depend on before. You can't rapidly upskill for the new normal if your personality is on lockdown. So we really have to access our whole personality and not just parts with which we're comfortable. For example, we're all challenged right now to become really skilled at facilitating virtual sales and client meetings. And that requires a whole different kind of personality energy than what we did before, which was being in a room with people where you get to know them and you can kind of feel the vibe. But the gift is that we get to practice and develop new ways of repurposing our personalities so that we can help others do the same. I'm publishing a new book coming out in August. It's called Seeing People Through, and it's all about how leaders leverage personality diversity. Who knew when I started this project 2 years ago and signed on with a publisher that the theme would be so relevant right now? So diversity is huge, and it's more important than ever.
Great. You can tell your team values and really benefits from your differences. Thanks so much for sharing. Now, John, we're going back to you now. Your company had tremendous growth from 2009 to 2016, and then your revenue and gross profit dropped in 2017, causing you to reevaluate everything. Give us some insight into how you refocused and changed all of your processes and organizational chart. What kind of impact is that having a few years later, and especially now as we learn how to manage through the pandemic?
Yeah. So kind of through the first 8 years, we were just moving forward. And then 2017, like a fighter, we caught one on the chin, and we became the commodity roofer that we didn't want to be. And sometimes that can happen to a business if you get stuck in your ways. So we took a step back from our business and said, what's working? What's not, what needs to change. And in 2017, there was a fork in the road, and we decided to get up off the mat, not just whine about it, and fix it, and really look into our business and figure that out. And so 18 and 19 have been great, and we've been off to a great start in 20, and we're almost because of that change, we're almost hitting another ceiling now where we're reevaluating and saying, okay, we've hit another big period of growth. What do we have all the right people in the right seat? Just about constantly evaluating to making sure, everybody's rowing in the same direction, those types of things for the growth. As far as the pandemic, we have been fortunate that we were deemed an essential business. So we've been able to operate. Some of the things that have changed is one of the things we changed in 17 is that we are never, ever going to email a bid to anybody, because then you're just a number on a piece of paper. And so now we've had to figure out ways to get creative, because some people may not want to meet with you. So we've been saying, well, we can meet outside in the garage. Whatever they feel comfortable with, we will do. And so we've been dealing with that a little bit, but the pandemic hasn't affected us as much because most of everything we do is on the outside of the home. So that's fortunate in that sense. But the main thing is, I think with any successful business is you're going to make mistakes, and you can sit there and whine about it or complain, or you can look at the mistake and say, I'm not going to let that happen again. What process can I put in place? What person can I get in that's the right person to fix it, and then move forward. Everybody's going to make a mistake, whether you're Apple, whether you're Amazon, whether you're Road and Roofing, you're going to make mistakes. Just learn from it and become a better company for it.
Thanks, John. We appreciate you giving us a look into the honest assessment of your team that your team made of the company, and how what you learned has contributed to your success today. So Bill, we're going to go to you. Syndio doubled in size from 2014 to 2018 in terms of clients, revenue, and worksite employees, and has targeted another doubling in size in a few more years. So what do you attribute this success to? And have you made any adjustments or capitalized on new opportunities as you strategize through the pandemic?
Well, it's interesting. The doubling in size coincided with me getting out of the way of the business. For the first, 12 years of my company, I was the only salesperson. So I controlled how much revenue came in or what new opportunities we looked at. And then as we started getting a lot more scalable, I realized that I couldn't do all of the work that was necessary on the front side of the sales process in order to get the funnel filling to grow as fast as we were now scalable and growing. So I started investing in a sales force. And that's really why we doubled in size. I got out of the way and people actually paid to go sell. We're selling, and then we had all the infrastructure in place to start taking care of the business that was coming through them. The reason that I believe we'll double in size again in the next 3 to 4 years is simply because the marketplace is changing, and the COVID scare has really, really exposed that a lot. I tell my employees all the time, adversity does not define your character, it reveals it. And what COVID has done is really revealed all of the holes of our organizations where we thought we were shored up, and really exposed us to where we need to look at getting better. And working remotely has been very much a part of our business. Like John, our business is an essential business. People still need to get paid, so we are still operating. But I now only have 6 employees that are working from my office, and I have 32 employees that are working from home. And we originally were just going to work until June 1st and then come back together. We're now looking at extending that through the month of June before we all get together again. But our reason for projecting expansive growth is simply because the marketplace is in a big disruption right now. It's been going through a disruption before COVID to some degree, but this has really exposed it. And what happens with disruption is that people look at ways that they're doing things today, and is it the most efficient or most effective way of doing it? And what they generally find out is most companies, if they're truly honest with themselves, will admit they really suck at HR. And we don't. That's what we do. And so initially, we're thinking that we're going to see an influx of new business based on other companies looking at their own way of doing business and realizing they need to look at doing something differently. And we are in a more efficient model, and status quo has been thrown out the window now. So all of us are looking at ways to get better at what we do, to utilize technology more to our advantage, but also to get back to what we do really well and how we provide services and products for our clients and how we make money. And the way to do that is to concentrate on doing those things and not spending time and energy on those that are not profit producing areas, which is really our bailiwick.
Great. Thanks so much, Bill, for sharing how your team has been so successful. Syndio's past growth and planned future growth is evident of a strong team dynamic and a focus on clients. So now is the time that we turn back to each of our finalists once more for a closing thought. And we've been asking this of all the businesses we've talked to through this series. What can Wichita do to help you as a small business, or maybe just any small business? So Nate, we are going to go to you first. What can Wichita do to help you and all small businesses?
I love this question. Thanks so much for including it. We're a huge fan of supporting local businesses. You know, in the beginning, we chose to set up shop in the historic train station in downtown Newton. Not the best suited for our situation, but we wanted to be part of downtown business community and we wanted to support our town. And many of our clients have said in the years, over the years, you know, you should move to a big city. You should be in Denver. You should be in Chicago. You know, you're a global company. And we've resisted doing that because we believe in this community. We believe in this area. So my ask is shop local, and that means services too. If you're looking to upskill your leaders and your teams with the kind of critical communication and leadership skills for the future, please consider us. We are a global company. We work with large corporations as well as small companies. And we can do virtual, we can do blended, we can do in-person services within safe guidelines. And help us get the word out about my new book, Seeing People Through. We're on social media and we always appreciate the likes and the shares. And so more than anything, let's stay connected. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Nate. I would like to check out that book, so I'll talk to you later about that. Let's go to John next. What can Wichita do to help you as a small business or any small business?
I love the question. I kind of frame it a different way, is that if you're a small business, what can you do for your community that lets the community know that you're invested in the community? Everybody likes to do business with a company that gives back. And so from the first year we started here, we started a roof giveaway program, and we provide a roof for a family in need every year. In our 10th year, we did 2 roofs. And it just, if you're doing something and promoting giving back, your community will give back to you. So everybody, you know, businesses need to give back to Wichita, and it's just a natural progression that it'll come back if they see that you're vested in the members of the community. So I see that more as the responsibility of the business community to give back to the community, and it'll come back as in a good way for your business.
Great, thanks so much, John. And now, finally, Bill, we'll go to you. What can Wichita do to help you as a small business or any small business?
Well, I'm going to echo what John said. I think it's really important for small businesses to be involved in your community and to support the things that make the community better overall. I hated to see the news recently that we might not have minor league baseball this year. I was so looking forward to the new stadium and the new team coming into play. I like the fact that the Wichita Open was rescheduled until September, which as a golfer, September is much better to play golf in than June is, by the way. But the fact that we wanted to keep that community, that event going here in Wichita, which is now one of the longest running events on the Corn Ferry Tour. And last year was celebrated as the best Corn Ferry Tour stop in the whole nation. Those are the things that Wichitans do to me that make the community worth living in. And we need to support those things that give us a holistic view of living in Wichita. And the way you do that is by keeping everything local, supporting the events that go on in your community, and making sure that everybody around you is taking care of each other. And in this time of isolation, that is really, really going to be incumbent on us when we start coming back together to put an emphasis on that togetherness, spending time together, even though it might be 6 feet apart, really reaching out to each other and making sure that the community is warm and welcoming, which is what it's always been, and not cold and separate, which is kind of what we're living in right now. So I think the community itself is ready to get back together. And I think the rest of the community needs to know that small business is there to support them. And at the same time, as a community, we all need to support the bigger things in the community that make it worth living in.
Great. Thanks so much. Thank you, Nate and John and Bill, and to the teams at Next Element Consulting, Roden Roofing, and Cindio Outsourcing, as we know they are a big part of your success as a small business. As we close out the final video in this series, our gratitude is endless. To the 9 finalists for 2020, thank you for sharing your stories, your challenges, and your accomplishments, and your wit and wisdom. This has been just such a fantastic experience. Thank you again to all of the sponsors and to everyone watching. The video series may be over, but our work in supporting and celebrating small businesses is never finished. Thank you all for your continued commitment to the business community.